Hello, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know who I am, my name is Shook. I make NBA DFS content, price fix content, all the good stuff. All these videos, they get posted on this subreddit right here. You can find my posts. I'll just have it linked down below in the comments. I make updates with all the news that comes out throughout the day. Today, we did have some news. You can ask me questions leading up to lock about the slate. After lock, I'll be around here. Most of the time, at least. And yeah, I'll have that link down below. And if you ever need to get a hold of me privately, you can get a hold of me on Twitter right here. So yeah, as far as my lineups tonight, I got second on Showdown. Just really mad about that because I was in first place for pretty much the entire night up until the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter. I was winning a lot of money until the last 5 minutes of the quarter. This is what I needed. So I had Karis LeVert captain with Max Strus, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Drew Holiday, Darius Garland was my lineup. It was winning the main GPP for, like I said, pretty much the entire night. I needed Karis LeVert to outscore Max Strus. And Karis gets hurt, clearly hobbled. Max Strus absolutely nukes it. So I get second on the Showdown. And don't win nearly as much because there were a ton of dupes on this Showdown slate, as expected. You had so many absolute nuke plays on the Cavaliers. Tatum was obviously a lock, so yeah, unfortunate. Still made money. And then as far as main slate, my lineup today was Darius Garland, Karis LeVert, Max Strus, Evan Mobley, Al Horford, Derek Lively, SGA, Jalen Williams. We'll see if I get into the cash or not. I played Al Horford as a last piece in. You guys know I hate Al Horford on these slates with him. I don't even know how much five run he got tonight. I would assume most of his run was at the 5. Oh, no. Cornette played 20 minutes. So, yeah. You guys know. I hate Al Horford when he's not playing the 5. And he landed in my lineup. So we'll see if I get into the cash or not. I will update you guys as always in the next video, but I'm not going to wait until 12:30 to make this video and wait for this game to end. So I will do that tomorrow night, assuming this game doesn't go until 4 in the morning. So yeah, if you're looking for more in-depth content, price fix, all the good stuff, I'll have my Discord link down below. All right, let's get into the slate. Let's take a look at Indiana. So, all right, rotation. Can't put too much into what happened last game. Got to throw that game out of the window. And if people are going to fade this game, especially the New York Knicks, we are going to have an absolute field day. A lot of recency bias in the playoffs. You see guys unowned go to owned. Peter Washington the other day. You see guys go from chalk to unowned. Happens all the time. So it's going to be interesting to see what the field does with this game. But Nesmith should get his mid-30s. Siakam should get his high 30s. Halliburton should get his high 30s. Turner got into a little bit of foul trouble, or Siakam got into a little foul trouble. Nembhard should play around 30. Miles Turner should play around 35. You get some Isaiah Jackson backup 5. One thing I do want to note here is Obi Toppin did, in fact, get some backup 5 run before Isaiah Jackson came in. And you see some Ben Shepherd, like 15-ish minutes for him, around 24 T.J. McConnell. With that being said, so I think the Knicks' best strategy is to blitz Halliburton, double Halliburton. I think that's their best strategy to win. Now, if they're going to do that, I really don't know. Personally, I do prefer Siakam to Halliburton, given the price points. I think it's a much better spot here for Siakam. No OG Anunoby on the other side of this game. He was having a really good game until the blowout. Plus, he got into early foul trouble, lost a good minutes in the first quarter. So I honestly do prefer Siakam to Halliburton point per dollar. If you ask me straight up, it's clearly Halliburton over Siakam. But I think, I think there's a good chance that the Knicks could double or blitz Halliburton tomorrow. I think that's definitely in the range of outcomes. He's just been absolutely killing them, especially from 3-point range, right? But I think both are good plays. I slightly do prefer Siakam point per dollar, but Halliburton stat sheet stuffer. Assists have been down of late because he's playing a decent amount alongside T.J. McConnell, so that definitely does hurt his assist rates a little bit, but he's still going to, stuff the stat sheet. His rebounding's been up. He has an insane ceiling. I think he's a really good play. Siakam, on the other hand, good rebounder, can also stuff the stat sheet. I think the scoring is going to come a lot easier with him without OG Anunoby on the other side of this game. It was last game, was this game. 2 games without OG. He also has an insane ceiling. Not as big of a ceiling as Halliburton, but definitely also not as high of a floor. But still like both the top 2 guys here for the Pacers. Miles Turner should play mid-30s minutes. He'll be low-owned. I don't mind it in GPPs. Like, if you look at center today, I have a good feeling most of the field's either going to click Jokic or Hartenstein. That's going to leave Rudy Gobert left out. That's going to leave Miles Turner left out. So I like these 2 guys as contrarian centers on this slate because I know everyone's just going to flock to Hartenstein. I know everyone's going to click Jokic. So I don't mind those guys as contrarian plays. Think they're decent contrarian plays. He's been scoring the ball very, very well of late. Double-double, definitely a bit of an outlier, but yeah, like his ceiling quite a bit in GPPs. I still like T.J. McConnell quite a bit, even at 5.1K. His role right now in the playoffs has just been absolutely absurd. I would expect around 20 minutes. 5.1K, I still think is a really solid play at this price point. Just an insane floor in the minutes given with a high ceiling. Fun fact, he actually has the highest usage rate on this team right now. Absurd stat, but he looks really solid. I like Nesmith quite a bit. I finally faded him last game and he absolutely nuked, but he's going to get a ton of open looks. He's been grabbing rebounds. He should play big minutes. They need him out there for all the minutes he can handle. So Nesmith's too cheap. He looks really solid to me. Nembhard's playable. Much worse than Nesmith, but has a ceiling. I just don't like the spot at all for him. Much prefer Nesmith. And then we get into the value. So if you give me that same rotation and Obi Toppin does get a little bit of backup 5 minutes, I want to see if Turner got into foul trouble. No, he did not. I believe that's his normal rotation. Yeah, normal rotations. Like if you give me some Obi Toppin backup 5 run, even if for a couple minutes, I don't think anyone's going to play him tomorrow. He does have a ceiling. He's clearly shown it in the playoffs as well. So I do not mind Obi Toppin as a value. The price point's down as well. Ben Shepherd sits here around 15 minutes. The only issue is he's really bad point per minute, but he is playable as a dart if you need it. And then Isaiah Jackson should play around 10 to 15 minutes. Perfectly fine for value at 3.1K. But like I said, you have a lot of good center options on this slate. I don't know if I'll personally be playing Isaiah Jackson just because, I'm probably going to want to play Jokic. I'm probably going to want to play like one of Miles, Gobert, Hartenstein, right? Now we get on to the Knicks. So I do think there's a good chance Miles McBride could start for the Knicks tomorrow over Precious Achiuwa. And the thing I was talking about, there's a lot of recency bias in DFS. I stacked the Knicks last game. I once again think they're one of the best, probably the best team to target on this slate. Don't care what happened last game. I just don't. So looking at the rotation, we know what the rotation is going to be. Miles McBride played the entire second half. Most of his stats came from the blowout, though. Dante, I'm expecting almost the entire game from. Precious, it's going to depend on if he starts or not. If he does not start, we'll see what they do. If he starts, I would expect probably around 20 minutes, which still makes him a solid value. Josh Hart, I would expect big minutes from. Brunson, big minutes. Hartenstein, big minutes. So with that being said, if Precious starts, as long as he gets around 20 minutes, he's definitely still going to grade out as a pretty solid value for this slate. Good point per minute guy. He's 4.3K. You give me 20 to 24 minutes at this price point, definitely going to be a really solid value. Miles McBride should play decent minutes with no OG. I think he's a pretty good value. Alec Burks at 3.9K. He's been a significant part of the rotation past 2 games. He's honestly been their best player. I don't know if the minutes continue to be like they are. I really don't. Last game he did not play blowout, so he was actually on pace for more minutes if they were going to close with him. Not entirely sure they were, but I think it's kind of going to be a hot hand approach with Alec Burks. Like if he's playing well, he'll get extended. I also think if he's playing really badly, they can pull the plug on him. So like if he's really popular tomorrow, I'm probably not going to want chalk Alec Burks, but if he's low owned like he has been the past 2 slates, we know the ceiling he has. We know he's a really good point per minute guy off the bench for the price point. So I'm intrigued here by Alec Burks. Ownership definitely going to tell what I do with him. And then if Miles McBride starts, I would expect massive minutes here. I think he'd stand out as one of the best value plays in the slate. I would really like him for value. If he starts, then Precious would just be a dart off the bench, but still have interest in Burks. And then I love the main 4 guys. Once again here, Hart, Dante, Hartenstein, my favorites, but Brunson is firmly in play. He hasn't looked right from the injury, but he'll probably be really low owned tomorrow, so I don't mind it in GPPs. But I love Hart, Dante, Hartenstein once again here. Don't care what happened last game. Hart, just outlier bad performance, wasn't grabbing any rebounds. Shot 1 of 6. They got blown out early. Like him quite a bit once again. Dante, I'm expecting huge minutes from. Insane ceiling, going to truck when he's out there. Like him quite a bit once again. Hartenstein, everyone just had a bad game. Expecting huge minutes once again from him here. Love him. Really like this Knicks team once again. If ownership drops, that's a mistake by the field. And I think you can definitely find that happening tomorrow in the playoffs with the amount of recency bias that does happen. All right, let's move on to the Timberwolves. So, McDaniels, 37. He's always in foul trouble. He got into foul trouble, of course, but he's always in foul trouble, so you have to bake that in. Mike Conley, I told you guys that his minutes were going to uptick. I thought the first game of 30 minutes was definitely an outlier. That has happened. Played 34. Rudy Gobert played 35. Cat finally stayed out of foul trouble, played close to 40. Anthony Edwards, 45 minutes. Naz Reid around 20. NAW should get low to mid 20s. With that being said, I love Anthony Edwards at 9.2K. I feel like the field's going to love him too. Hard not to like him. Played 45 minutes last game. Good defender. Can rack up block steals. Going to stuff the stat sheet. He's their clear go-to guy. He looks great. I love Anthony Edwards tomorrow. And I like both the bigs. Rudy Gobert at 6'3" does seem a bit too cheap. I know he's been really, really quiet in the series, but probably going to get you a double-double. Has clear upside. Got into foul trouble last game. Would expect close to 40 minutes here. I think he's too cheap. Like him quite a bit. Cat has a ceiling when he's staying out of foul trouble and hitting his shots. Shot the ball 18 times. Had a poor shooting game. Still won for 36 fantasy points. I think he's a really good play. He'll probably be popular. Mike Conley, you guys know, I have loved him every single slate. The price has not moved. The ownership has not been there. He's been low owned every single slate. People that don't watch basketball or don't watch the playoffs don't understand what's happening. That his role right now in the playoffs is much, much better than what it was in the regular season. His potentials are up. His conversions to assist rate is always going to be very, very high. So that helps as well. He's shooting the ball more. So, yeah, I love Mike Conley and GPPs once again here. Naz Reid, I think is solid value. I'm really high on Jaden McDaniels. I've liked him quite a bit every single slate. As long as he can stay out of foul trouble, she'll play all the minutes he can handle. Very safe value. Like him for value once again. NAW is playable, but I'd much rather play McDaniels. And then Kyle Anderson barely saw any minutes last game. Moving on to Denver. Braun closed last game, played 25 minutes. KCP 31, Jamal 38, Aaron Gordon 41, Jokic 39, MPJ 35. He got benched because he was playing poorly. Reggie Jackson gained minutes from Jamal Murray foul trouble. I don't really think you're going to see too much Reggie Jackson tomorrow. I don't know how you don't play Jokic. I think it looks phenomenal. They're playing at home. Series tied up. I would expect big minutes. He also got into foul trouble. He was on pace for 44 minutes. I don't think the field's also going to recognize that. Absolutely love Nikola Jokic tomorrow. Jamal Murray got into foul trouble early. He picked up 2 quick ones. He's a guy that never gets into foul trouble, ever. He lost minutes in the first quarter. He was on pace for 44 minutes. I absolutely love Jamal Murray at 7.6K. Love, love, love both the Denver guys here. MPJ, Aaron Gordon, they're fine filler plays for me. Aaron Gordon had the big game last game, so he'll probably be much, much higher owned. I will say Aaron Gordon's safer. I like MPJ's ceiling and GPPs. Whichever one's higher owned, just go with the lower owned option if you are playing one. KCP, you guys know I've hated in this series. Just an awful, awful matchup for him. I will continue to fade. I just don't think he's a good play at all. Don't think he has the ceiling. Just tough spot for him. Just much prefer McDaniels here. And I don't mind the punts. I think Braun and Holiday are both decent punts. Holiday's had a nice role. He's played around 20 minutes. Now, he has been hitting his shots. That's definitely going to regress a little bit, but I still think he's firmly in play, and I don't mind Braun. Now, last game, definitely an outlier. He closed over MPJ. I don't think that's going to happen. I think normally you're going to get 15 to 18 minutes, which does make him firmly in play as a punt. I do prefer Braun to Justin, but both are perfectly fine. So, yeah, keep an eye on the Knicks, and I think that's it. Hopefully you guys had a good night tonight, and I will talk to you in the next video.